Staying consistent with your UCAT prep is one thing, but actually progressing is where most people struggle. If you feel like you're doing questions every day, but you're not improving, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to give you two simple things that completely changed how I approach my UCAT prep, and this actually helped me improve. The first thing to do is to make a to-do list the night before. This sounds really simple, but I'm telling you, it actually works. It gives your study sessions a structure and a direction so you know exactly what to do when you start. So instead of waking up, procrastinating, and wondering, what should I do today? You already know what to do. You can hit the ground running and get your day started right away. So for example, when I started prepping, I wouldn't just say, do verbal reasoning. I would actually give myself a goal to aim at every single time. Alright, so here, looking at my notes for July 16th of my prep. My goal for this day, the night before, I said, I want to do 10 verbal reasoning passages, like one question passages, so there are either 4 or 5. And on each of them, I want to get at least 75% right. So either 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5. And I did so, and I kept doing until I got 10 in a row. Not 10 in a row, 10 total. And this helped me give sense of direction in my studying, but also helped me improve over time because I knew, okay, this time it took me a lot, but then in the future it would take me less and less, and hopefully I improve over time. And then you can see later I changed it to doing, instead of out of just 1 question passages, I would do out of 8, and then as I continue, you can see, yeah, I did a lot. But as I continued, I worked my way up, kept practicing. I did out of 12 then, so 3 question passages, and I would just keep going, and then eventually I worked into some mocks. But the thing is, planning your work isn't the only thing you do to improve, because if you're not learning from what you're doing, you'll actually just stay at the same level. And that takes me into tip number 2. So the next tip is to track your progress. Like you just seen, I tracked every single question that I did. And this is something that most people don't do. People just do questions, just look at the answers and move on, but you're not actually learning from what you've done. Tracking your progress and stating your mistakes is where you find your weak points, your strong points, and you're able to tailor your studying to fix your weak points, to turn them into your strong points. So after every session, I want you to reflect and write down what you did well, what you did poorly, what circumstances you could have been under, and just overall ways that, like, how you felt, but how you can improve for the future. And this can be really simple. It doesn't have to be over paragraphs on paragraphs, because then your brain just gets tired and burnt out. This can just be a few bullet points just to keep your mind fresh and think about what you actually did, and not just keep doing questions on questions. Alright, so as you can see here, this is my quantitative reasoning scores for June 23rd. And I want you to see that, okay, this quiz I did well, I did 9 out of 9. So I just told myself I did my pace well because that was in the time frame that I needed, and I worked very quickly. But then the next time, I got 21 out of 24, which is still good. But I just wrote some tips, because for the questions, I rushed through a question, didn't fully understand what it was actually asking. So just a tip for me, don't assume what the question's asking, read the prompt carefully. Just little things like this. So, or in this scenario, I had to rush the last 7 questions. So everything was good until I started to rush. So just basically skip the harder one. I learned from this one, skip the harder ones, go to the easier ones first, and then go back to the harder ones, and just learn to use the keyboard. So as you can see here, quantitative reasoning was one of my strong suits, which is why I didn't do as much practice compared to that verbal reasoning grind. But still, you can see that each time I did a quiz, I would write down what did I do well, what I didn't do that well, and then in the night I could reflect on this to help me adjust my to-do list for the next day. Alright, so once you do this consistently, you start to notice your patterns. And then once you understand your patterns, you know how to tweak your schedule to focus more on a certain type of thing. So at the start, I used to make mistakes so much on syllogisms. So then on my to-do list, I'd be like, okay, let's do 5 question sets and get 100% on syllogisms to try to work that into my brain and become better at that. Alright, so when you combine both of these, so setting out clear plans for what you want to do, and then tracking your plans and see how you actually performed, you create a feedback loop where you're basically constantly improving. On days that you're down, you still know, okay, what can I do to get better? And on the days that you're hot, you know what you did well, and you still find little ways to improve. So it's a win-win every time. So if you just implement these 2 things into your UCAT prep, you'll start seeing progress a lot quicker. In the next videos, I'm going to be discussing specific strategies regarding each section. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, comment down below if you have any questions regarding the UCAT or my journey, and I'll see you next time. Peace.